everyone, I'm the Tax Pro, and we are on day 5 of our 90 Days to Taxes series. So over the next 90 days, I'm taking you from a new business or a business that's not organized to getting organized, ready to file your taxes, and making sure you're taking advantage of all of those deductions. One of the main things that we need to talk about is bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is the process of keeping the records in your business, making sure that everything is accurate, and then those numbers directly tie into your tax return and determine the tax that you pay. So if your bookkeeping's not correct, tax isn't going to be correct. It can cost you a lot of money if you are not doing your bookkeeping properly. One of the main things that you need to keep in mind is your bookkeeping software. So there's generally 2 types of bookkeeping softwares that we talk about. The first type is a single entry system. And what that means is you are just entering, I purchased office supplies today, office supplies went up by $50. That's very, very simplistic. A good example would be Excel. Single entry systems don't have kind of a double check in there to make sure that you're getting all the expenses that you need, that you're claiming all of the income, you're not double counting things, that everything is correct, okay? Double entry systems, on the other hand, that's the second type. Those are great because they have a double check in place. And that double check allows you to go in and make sure that you've captured everything that you wanted to capture and just kind of double check to make sure that those financials are accurate. I always recommend double entry systems because I have seen where clients have missed a lot of deductions by using single entry systems. That doesn't mean that it doesn't work. That doesn't mean that you can't use a single entry system. It just means it's really not a good idea. In addition, if you are a partnership, S corporation, or C corporation, you need to have a double entry system because you have to have a balance sheet that ties to your P&L. Okay? Bookkeeping softwares also make it a lot easier in the event that you're audited so that you can substantiate those numbers on your tax return. So now that I've talked about the importance of bookkeeping, let's talk about softwares. Okay? All the ones that I'm going to go over today are double entry. And there is a free one I'm going to discuss. So if you're like, I can't afford a software, my business is not big enough, that's a large expense, I don't want to take that leap, I totally understand. There is a free option I'm going to go over, and there's some that are very cost efficient if you want to go with the paid option, okay? I'm going to go over some today. These are the softwares that we recommend. However, there are a lot of other softwares. So I just want to point out that just because I'm talking about these softwares today does not mean that there's not other softwares, okay? There are plenty of other softwares that do a great, phenomenal job that you can use for bookkeeping. I would just make sure that it's a double entry system and that you can pull the reports that you need to pull. As another disclaimer, we do have an affiliate set up with QuickBooks Online, and we are an Odoo partner. So when I go through those, there is a business relationship that exists there. I just want to make you guys aware so there's no, goofiness going on. You'll see it's not going to impact my recommendation though, and you'll see that here in a minute. So let's kind of talk about the kind of main ones that we recommend. The biggest one that we're going to talk about as far as company size and businesses that use it is QuickBooks. QuickBooks has been around for a long time. Intuit owns QuickBooks. There are 2 main types of QuickBooks softwares. Okay, one is online and one is desktop. Online is cloud-based. What that means is you can log in if you have an internet connection. They do make apps for your tablet, for your phone. So it's really convenient because it is cloud-based. And it is the app or the program they're pushing everybody to. So it used to be that QuickBooks had a lot of desktop programs. They're doing away with a lot of the desktop programs and they're pushing everybody to online. So a lot of people are going from desktop to online. It used to be you could buy desktop and use it for years. And so you'd pay like one fee of a couple $100 and then you could use that program for years. Those days are gone, unfortunately. So QuickBooks Desktop has kind of taken on a little bit of a different format, and I'll show you that in a minute. But QuickBooks Online is their cloud-based program. Downsides of QuickBooks Online, it is expensive. So QuickBooks Online is one of the most expensive programs we're going to talk about. And that is potentially cost prohibitive for a lot of small businesses. They tend to increase their pricing pretty regularly as well. So the prices that you see right here, this is 50% off because they're offering 50% off for 3 months. These little numbers up here that are crossed off, those are the real monthly prices right now. So Simple Start is $38, Plus is $150, Advanced is $275. And I should mention that this is October 2025. If you are watching after this, there is a very good chance prices have increased, okay? Make sure you check pricing before you sign up. Simple Start's good for a lot of small businesses. Plus has a lot of, greater clarity. And then Advanced is this very, it's advanced. It's got a lot more features. So each of these, the difference here is number of users that you can have, and then the different features that come with it. Okay, so you have forecasting, revenue recognition, all that good stuff in the Advanced. QuickBooks Online, it can be a little bit glitchy. I experience a lot more downtime on QuickBooks Online than I do with any other system. I don't know why. They've also recently changed the layout. I'm not a huge fan of the new layout. I think it's a little less intuitive than the old layout was, but it's here to stay. So 2025 layout, I'm not in love with it. QuickBooks Online though, it's a solid option. Because it is so popular, a lot of apps will connect with QuickBooks Online. You can connect a lot of different programs that you may use in your business, programs that you maybe invoice through or you collect fees through, that kind of stuff. QuickBooks, or Intuit I should say, also has a large number of different programs and features. For example, they have a point of sale system that's really nice. There's a QuickBooks checking account that's nice. There's a lot of different features that Intuit puts out, that connect with QuickBooks Online that makes it it's difficult to navigate away from Intuit once you're on Intuit. One, because a lot of things connect to Intuit, and two, because they make it difficult. So QuickBooks Online, that's kind of an overview. QuickBooks Desktop is a great program. I love Desktop. It looks like it's a 90s computer program when you go in, but it is so feature rich. It is great for inventory, but it is expensive now because they're moving everybody to online. Online does not have a great inventory system. Desktop does. Desktop, just like how it sounds, it's not cloud-based, it is desktop-based. So it is a program that you download on your particular computer and it lives there. So it is not cloud-based unless you get it hosted, which would be an additional fee. You'll see here it's expensive. However, if you are paying for Online Advanced and you're paying this $275 a month, Gold's cheaper than that, right? So these are subscription-based now, whereas Desktop didn't used to be subscription-based. You just kind of bought it when you wanted a new version. All of these are QuickBooks Desktop Enterprise software, which is very robust. I love Desktop. I get that it's, it can be cost prohibitive for a lot of people, especially when it's a yearly price that you pay. So that's Desktop. It is a great solution. It's limited because it's not cloud-based. And they're doing away with it and moving everybody to online, so be prepared for that. A great alternative to QuickBooks is Xero. And Xero is, it's Xero. And Xero is very affordable. Don't be fooled though by these now $2.50. It's actually 90% off right now. So this is $25, this is $55, and this is $90. Okay, still very cost efficient though. Very cost efficient. If you are used to a system like QuickBooks, it does have a little bit of a learning curve going to Xero. Xero also doesn't have amazing inventory, so just be aware of that. But it is a great alternative. I experience very little downtime with our clients on Xero in comparison to QuickBooks. It is a good solution. One of the things I don't like is the support. You have to email them. They don't really have like a good support number, which is frustrating. But these are all the features. You'll see you're a little bit limited in this early program. You can only send 20 invoices a month and enter 5 bills, but you can reconcile your bank transactions and all that good stuff. It doesn't have a customizable graphs and dashboard. Once you go up here, then you get the advanced KPIs. You'll see there's inventory plus options with the growing and the established program. So Xero is great. We like Xero. There are some accounting firms that only use Xero for their clients and we love it. I'm not that crazy about it to that point where we're making everybody move to Xero, but it is a very good solution. So that's Xero. Next, I'm going to hop over to, I should also mention, Xero is cloud-based. Next, I'm going to hop over to the free option. Wave or Wave Apps is the free bookkeeping solution. It does have a paid program, or a paid level, I should say. This is what it looks like. If you pay monthly, it's $19 a month for the paid version, but the starter plan is free. It is free for a reason. It is not as feature-rich as Quickbooks or Xero, but it is a great solution. And if they keep adding additional features, I am a huge fan of Wave. For businesses that are small, Wave is great. It won't scale with you once you become really large. It gets a little too clunky in my opinion, but it is a great solution. It has a lot of new things that keep getting added. For example, you can add online payments now. You didn't used to be able to do that. But you'll see the free version, you get to create unlimited estimates, invoices, bills, and bookkeeping records. So it's great because if you have a business that's small, you are really bootstrapping, you can't afford anything additional, Wave is a great option. I just saw this, Wave Advisors, they have hands-off bookkeeping. I have not used this, so I am unsure if it is good or not. It's $199 a month. I don't know how good it is, okay? QuickBooks online help or like live bookkeeping is not good. Don't use that. But the Wave bookkeeping, I'm unsure. I have not seen their work yet, but it may be a good solution. I am unsure. So that's Wave. Wave is great if you're looking for a free double entry accounting system. Won't scale with you. Xero will have a hard time scaling with you too eventually. I've had some clients that have kind of phased out of Xero. QuickBooks Desktop can scale pretty well. QuickBooks Online can scale with some businesses. I've had companies doing 9 figures in QuickBooks Online, but it's not the best solution. There's a lot of workarounds that happen at that level. It's not ideal. One that is quickly becoming one of my favorites is Odoo. So Odoo is a cloud-based company, and it's kind of got a different group of things going on. So here's the pricing. Before I show you the apps in Odoo though, I just want to mention this one app free can be a little bit misleading. One app doesn't necessarily cover everything that you need to do in Odoo. So for example, if you want to run your bookkeeping in Odoo, you would need the accounting app, but then you also need the invoicing app to invoice. So the one app free wouldn't cover that and you would end up having to pay, okay? However, it's really affordable. It's $31 per user per month and you get all the apps. This is for Odoo Online, but notice that this is per user. So if you need, 15 users in here, it might end up being cost prohibitive, but you get a slew of apps with it. So let me kind of show you. This is one of the things I like about it. You have all these finance apps, you have marketing apps, sales apps, websites, services, supply chain productivity. Odoo can scale. So that's one of the things that I really like about Odoo. It has a great inventory system and it can scale. You can also have customized apps on Odoo. So Odoo is customizable. Because it is customizable, the startup is a little confusing. So Odoo is great. I personally like Odoo. We're moving a lot of clients to Odoo. One, because of the cost. It's a lot more cost efficient than trying to get all of these customers to purchase QuickBooks Desktop. So for what you get for the price, it's really cost efficient. But also it's got a slew of different apps, and then it is scalable. It's cloud-based. And then the other one that I wanted to touch base on, we don't use this a ton, it's Sage. Sage is great though. Sage has a lot of different solutions that scale with different size companies. So if you can't find something that you like in the apps that I talked about or the programs that I talked about, Sage might be a better fit for you. And Sage has a lot of different things. So they have, inventory planner, all this good stuff, people in payroll. So Sage has a lot of solutions. Sage, I see more with like larger companies. So it does scale really nicely. So Sage is also an option. If I did not cover the option that you're using, like maybe you're using Zoho or you're using a industry-specific program. That's not because it's not a good program. It's just because there's only so many that I'm going to recommend before you get information overload, right? So there are a ton of great programs out there. A ton of great programs. Just because I didn't cover it doesn't mean that it's not a good, solid double entry system. Just make sure that if you're using an industry-specific program that you can get all the reports that you need for the way that you are taxed, and that it truly has a very comprehensive double entry accounting system program built in place. I've seen a lot of industry-specific softwares that are like, yeah, we have accounting too. It's very, very elementary, and it doesn't provide all the reports that I want. Okay, so just be aware of that. But this is, what I recommend as a kind of recap. QuickBooks has two options, online and desktop. Desktop's my favorite, but it's going away. Well, I shouldn't say it's going away. They're phasing it out and moving people to online, but I don't know that they can necessarily completely phase out desktop for a long time. But they phased a lot of people off of desktop. Those options exist. They've been around forever. QuickBooks Online can be glitchy, not my favorite, but it's a solid system, and because it's so popular, it's got a lot of connections. Xero is a great alternative, tends to be a lot more price efficient, and it is cloud-based. It is a really nice program, maybe doesn't scale as easily as like QuickBooks Desktop or some of these other programs. Wave has a free version. It is double entry. If you are on a budget and you want a free program, Wave is great. It's not going to scale with you as easily, and it is free for a reason. It is not as feature rich, but it is a great solution. Odoo is one of my new favorites. It is cloud-based and it has a slew of apps that come with it, so I quite like Odoo. It also it can scale, so it can go, it has a lot of advanced features, inventory, that kind of stuff. It can scale. Sage, if none of the other ones that I talked about kind of meet your needs, Sage may be where you want to go. Sage has a lot of different options. So that's kind of a recap. I hope that was helpful. This is kind of a longer video in our 90-day to taxes series. But hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. And if you found this helpful, I would appreciate if you could like and subscribe. Just let YouTube know that you like our content so we can reach more people. So I will see you guys tomorrow.